There we go. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Do I have everyone on the call here today?
Yes, you do.
How you doing, Mark and James? Welcome to the program. We're here to talk about winning. That's what we're doing. That's what we're doing all day today.
Well, it always feels good to win.
Yeah, it's been a week nonstop. I lost track of all the wins we've had. Right?
So, yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of wins all over the place.
Nick, are you familiar with Nick Rekieta?
Yes.
The cocaine kingpin of Minnesota?
I suppose that's what they're calling him online.
Yeah, we can call him that now. We don't have to pretend that he's not a major player in the blow trafficking industry now that he's free, now that he's taken the plea deal. So you guys repped Riley for his Eric July case, yeah?
That's correct.
And what happened? Can you give us a little? Like, we've talked about it a little bit on the show. A lot of people hate Riley, so I'm phrasing this as a legal issue. But the law that Eric July forced the police to prosecute him over is like a new law for Texas. Is that right?
Well, harassment isn't necessarily a new law. And the state tried prosecuting Riley under some older versions of it that didn't really apply.
Okay.
The version that they might have had an opportunity to was a much newer version of the statute. But even then, we were confident in winning Riley's case.
Well, what is the statute? Can you give like a description of it? Briefly, because the whole thing seemed retarded to us.
Yeah,
honestly.
So the charging document that they filed into court, which I believe you had on one of your episodes, had really outlined two different ways that Riley supposedly violated the harassment statute. One was that he'd made threats of bodily injury against Eric July, and the other way they tried charging him was kind of a mishmash of two other sections that should have been completely separated, but in essence it was online repeated online communications.
Okay.
However, the section they really should have filed under should have been the one that dealt more with like internet posts to social media sites, stuff like that, rather than the older direct communications or electronic communications, which really deals more with when you're just repeatedly texting somebody, or repeatedly sending them an email directly to them.
I'm looking for Max. I don't know if you're familiar with this case, but Riley, who's a little goofball, him and Eric July, this guy, this illiterate guy who makes comics, they were having an online fight, calling each other gay and stuff, and calling each other fat and gay. And then Riley went to Eric July's comic book warehouse and taped like $40 to the door and said he was going to shave his arm hair on his shoulders, because the guy he streams and he has this gross like Brillo pad of arm hair on his shoulders.
Yeah.
So then Eric July called the police, who's an anarcho-capitalist. He called the police, and the police met him at a gas station on the outskirts of town, where he said that I'm like in charge of this criminal harassment ring of making fun of him.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Is that about right? Is that about right, Mark?
Yeah, well, it was $41.
Oh, it was $41? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to...
And I just want to put this out here first. We have talked to Riley, and he has given us permission to talk about the case.
Oh, okay.
Just so everybody's aware, because I know there's some little minions online somewhere. They're like, oh, his lawyers are talking about him and his case. They shouldn't be doing that. But, yeah, it was $41.
Yeah.
My understanding, it was meant to be $50.
Oh, he fucked up his math.
I guess the 1 and the 10 came out of the wallet the wrong way.
Okay.
But yeah, he drew some bunnies with carrots on the money and taped it with bunny. Well, affixed it with bunny stickers to the window. And I know I've seen both James and I have spent hours scouring the internet on different forums and X and this and that, what people were saying about it from the time it happened.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny. James and I would laugh almost every day because
it's so goofy.
well, people were talking about the case like they actually understood what the law was and what would have to happen. But yeah, Eric July called the police. There it is. It's out there in the open. It's no secret. We've heard the 911 call.
Wait, what? You have?
Oh yeah.
Oh, what?
There's no dispute that Eric was the one who called.
No way! Oh, I didn't know
Nobody
that.
else called.
Oh, how do we get the 911 call? Like, can we FOIA it or whatever that's called?
You probably can. They probably would release it now.
What did he say? What did he say in the 911 call?
Well, he wanted to report basically a trespass.
Okay.
And I know you posted parts of the state's response to our motion to quash that actually, I don't know why all of Eric July's fans and supporters would think you were making something up, that the state actually incorporated the offense report to their response to our motion to quash.
Yeah.
And it clearly states Eric July called 911. He didn't even meet him at the warehouse. He went to that gas station.
Why did he do that? Why did he meet them like he's on an episode of The Wire? Why did he meet them in a gas station outside of town?
What he probably did was he probably called from his home address and wherever he lived just said, well, if he's in Plano, then you have to call the Plano police. So
okay.
And
probably. So he drove to a gas station because it's like in the district of his warehouse to call 911? Kind of.
He's
an idiot.
He gets escorted over to the warehouse.
Like Die Hard 3 when he calls the ambulance in because he's in the right area. Okay, so he gets escorted. He gets escorted from the police to the warehouse. Okay.
Yeah, he meets them over there, and they take the report, and so the officers.
Now wait a minute. I'm sorry. I have so many questions. What is the mental state of the police as they're taking down what is like a totally stupid? Obviously, like a guy in bunny stickers. They wrote novelty scissors in the report. Like, what is the mental state of the cops in this?
So, the cops, most of the street cops are kind of like, oh, I've got something to do.
Yeah.
Right? But for the most part, when they get called out to the scene, and this happens throughout Texas, the cops that arrest you, they're not the final person investigating it.
Okay.
It actually gets turned over. And you talked about this detective on one of your podcasts about the guy, was it Dr. or Detective Farias or whatever his name was.
Detective Fart in my ass. I remember him. Yeah, I looked him up.
He doesn't even work for that department anymore.
Oh, okay. What does he? Does he work at a blowjob factory or something? At a daycare?
I could tell you.
With a one-star daycare.
He ends up after they take this report. He ends up calling Eric July.
Okay.
And has a long conversation with Eric July, which we've heard that too.
Oh my God! I had no idea this stuff existed. Because Eric July made it a point to never talk about me, to never react to at a certain point to never react to me. Everybody tries this route on me, it doesn't work. What was he saying in the call to the detective?
Well, this is where it gets more into kind of like the mental state of law enforcement.
Okay.
The detective is asking him, what happened? What's the backstory to this? He gives them information about you and the bunnies and everything. And
did he tell them that he's responsible for the bunny stuff? That he called me a bunny in the first place?
I can't remember if he did or not, but it talked about the bunnies.
Yeah. Okay.
Not really.
Not really.
And then the detective, at some point, the detective's trying to give him advice, like, hey, this stuff happens online, just block people.
Fucking hysterical woman advice, honey, just block them. Close your eyes.
Move on.
Yeah.
Right? And then he starts talking, and Eric starts there's actionable threats.
Oh God.
And this is and he tells the detective about the whole shaving the shoulder hair thing, right? And the detective's like, wait a minute, there's actionable threats like other than the shaving of the shoulders.
Yeah.
And he goes, well, yeah. Oh. And he goes, well, what are they? And he goes, well, what it is I gotta look out for my employees.
Oh.
And
well, you see, when he was talking about actionable threats, he's saying Riley is saying that he's making actionable threats. And so he's talking about a quote that Riley made where Riley says something verbatim like, this is an actionable threat.
Yeah, Riley says the phrase, taking that I'm making an actionable threat.
As in, like, by saying those words, the threat, even if it's not actionable, because Riley is saying it's actionable, it's an actionable threat. And so, he's asked about the shaving of the shoulders, and it's like, all right, and what about this specific actionable threat? And then Eric, he's like, well, he's saying that it's an actionable threat. And can't name any other kind of specifics.
You heard it. Does it sound like he's lying, or that he actually believes it's an actionable threat?
No, he tells the detective that these posts in the shaving of the shoulder, he disregarded it. He claimed he didn't feel threatened.
Yeah.
But he's got to take it serious now, because now he's shown up to the warehouse at night when nobody was there.
Yeah.
And I know he went on Nick's show shortly after that. And I know Nick, I mean, I don't personally know him, but I know from watching that episode, Nick was trying to tell him, like, wait a minute, it's like a driveway into a parking lot, so it's a public space. He's like, yeah, well, it's a business. It's private. Well, no, it's a public space. Anybody has access to it. It's not like he broke in. Did he even talk to anybody? Well, no, that's not my point of contention.
Right. You do a good Eric July impression.
He kept saying that Nick looked frustrated with him and was like, well, his lawyers might consider that a point of contention.
I'm going to put this on there. Now it's a real good Eric July impression. Okay. Sorry. Keep going.
But yeah, so that's where it all gets started. And then he has, I guess he has some employee named Brandon Taylor.
Laser eyes.
Yeah. I think, is that the guy that
he's got one eye looking one way and one eye. He's got one eye on the money and one eye on the future and one eye on comics and one eye on the,
but he ends up being in contact with the detective. So evidently Brandon is scouring X for posts from that Riley's making or anybody else is making, and he's sending him over to the detective via email, like every day. Every day he's sending this detective like snips from Twitter or X or whatever and saying, oh, here's another one.
Yeah, cool.
They don't know where the actual posts were made from. They don't know when these pictures were necessarily taken or anything like that. But Brandon keeps telling the detective, like, oh, we believe he's going to do this. Like, he's on his way to go urinate on Eric's grandfather's grave, which never actually ever happened.
Yeah, that was funny. They love running with that one.
Yeah.
I bought that cemetery. I'm in negotiations to buy it. I'm going to dig up his great-grandfather.
Well, from a legal standpoint, it's going to take some extra permits.
I got him. It's Trump's. I can do whatever I want. I'm in Trump's ear. I could do it. I got permits for days. I'm going to dig up his grandpa and make like a little puppet out of his bones, like a little marionette puppet, and then make him dance around for my amusement.
Make him piss on his own grave.
I'm gonna do Jeff Dunham's routine. I'm gonna make a little puppet. Yeah, I'm gonna give him a piss pouch. Is that legal?
Yeah. So they end up getting this warrant for stalking.
Yeah,
which is a felony, and then
that warrant's like retarded, right? Like these laws are for like insane people protecting like women and stuff like that. How did that get through? How do you get a warrant for these?
It's honestly not hard to get a warrant.
Really?
It's not hard to get a warrant at all for anything.
Okay.
But just because somebody gets arrested doesn't mean they're guilty of something.
Yeah.
So But yeah, this warrant goes out, and Riley doesn't live in Texas. He's not from Texas. The police knew that, but it got downgraded to harassment.
Okay.
And then, unbeknownst to Riley, that this warrant was out, he goes to I don't know, some meet and greet thing that's at some bar or pool
it was
hall or something.
It was a rippaverse.
He doesn't even go inside. He
map
stays outside.
Convention.
Yeah,
for minor attractive people and rippaverse.
It was in some like strip mall. It had like a CC's Pizza and this bar and like I don't know. If I'm doing some launch of a comic book or a business thing, I don't know if I would have had it there. But
there was a Weight Watchers there too, where Neurotic's wife was for her daily appointments. That she would happen to be there at the same time. Sorry. Anyway, keep going.
So he, somebody must have said something to the manager or the owner of the bar pool hall, and they go out and get the cops to come and say, "Hey, look, we just want to make sure he doesn't come into the bar." I can't, even the owner of the bar is saying, "Look, I can't trespass him from the whole parking lot. There's other businesses here. I just don't want him up against our windows or whatnot." And Eric July had this, hired team of security guards wearing like the same blazers, trying to tell the cops like who Riley is. And then the cops go over and they're kind of like, "What are we doing here?" And they run Riley's name. They run Riley's name and they see there's an active warrant. And that's the only reason he got arrested. He didn't get arrested at that place for trespass.
Yeah.
He didn't get arrested for harassing anybody there. The arrest was all simply because he had an outstanding warrant.
Yeah.
And so, I got involved in this because I've got a lot of connections with the Libertarian Party of Texas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And some individuals that I know through that contacted me. And they're like, "Yeah, this guy is claiming to be a libertarian online. He's not very libertarian."
Dude, isn't it crazy? Like today, Eric's talking about how evil the government is, and he's an anarcho-capitalist. It's like, bro, you called the cops on someone because he made fun of you. It's not like you're in any danger. Nothing was stolen. Nothing. Just getting made fun of.
He made money.
Yeah,
he made $41.
Yeah, it's crazy. How are things going for libertarians in Texas? You guys gotta. You guys are getting kind of blue over
libertarians
there.
Around the country, it's always a struggle because you get a lot of people that support, the libertarian platform in so many ways, but they're stuck in this mindset of, well, they don't really have a shot at winning.
Yeah.
So I need to either vote for the lesser of two evils or it's something like, hey, maybe next time, but this election is the most important election of our lifetimes. But like every 4 years, it's always the most important election of our lifetime. So at some point in the past, people were lying to us, right?
Yeah.
Because you keep getting the same thing every election cycle.
Everyone made it worse. I look back, and every single one made it worse, except for this. We got a lot of stuff in this one. Libertarians.
Yeah.
I think we finally learned.
Ross Albright is free.
Yeah, like this is exactly what we want, and then you got it. Like those ghosts in Lord of the Rings. Like, we need this, and we'll vote. But you need to do this, okay? You can make fun of us. I know we suck, but you need to let our guy out of prison. Okay, so what did you think when Riley came in with this amazing case?
Well, I was just like, is this really happening?
Yeah.
Is this really a case that's going to go forward? And sure enough, they were moving forward with it. So James and I put our heads together and we're like, well, James has practiced in Collin County a lot.
Oh, okay.
I haven't practiced there as much. I've practiced in like 39 counties in Texas. Yeah. Collin was not one of them.
Yeah.
So they weren't. Collin County is not used to my antics in court anyway.
What are your court? What are your court?
That's
antics?
My theater. The courtroom is my theater.
Okay. So Riley got the right attorney. Great.
Yeah. So
did you wear a cape?
And so we drafted a lengthy motion to quash, and James called it too. he's like, we're gonna put this together, and she's probably not gonna read the whole thing. The judge, she's gonna like immediately read it and be like, all right, that's enough. Boom.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. She got through. She didn't even get through, make a ruling on any of our other sections. She was just like, I've seen enough. I've seen enough.
It's over.
Wash.
Yeah.
And then of course
it's quashed. That means like the information. I don't really understand what it means. Like I just say like, okay.
no,
I
the
don't know what
charging
this means.
document no longer exists.
Oh, I see. Okay.
So the state could have refiled.
Yeah.
Okay. Or amended the information, and actually made it sound legitimate, because I don't know necessarily who wrote that. I don't know if it was some paralegal who gave it to an ADA to sign, but that was atrocious writing. And the response to our motion to quash was pretty atrocious as well. But once that got quashed, really there's no case to move forward until they file another document. And yet the state continued to act like they were going to go to trial. And I saw all Eric July's little fans online like, oh no, it's still going to trial. And I'm like, yeah, look, I mean, if they file something, sure. I mean, I'll wake up, roll out of bed and go try this case. It doesn't matter to me.
Why did they do that? Why didn't they just why did they do any of this? They just thought Riley's going to take a plea deal because it's the smart thing to do, or
that's how most district attorneys are.
They just prosecute everything.
Yeah. The prosecutors sometimes don't even look at the case. The first time you go into court, they're like, oh, here's a plea deal. And I'm like, did you even look at anything? Yeah, we'll reject that.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And what's funny is the prosecutor that wrote that that response to our motion to quash, he got reassigned somewhere else in the DA's office.
Actually, he doesn't work at that specific DA's office anymore.
Oh, okay.
He took a job elsewhere. Yeah, I think he went to go be a felony prosecutor elsewhere. He had actually been doing it for he's been a lawyer for at least 11 years. Yeah. And so later, of course, they sub in somebody else to fill his place. And so eventually we see, they give us some notice. And, I see the bar card numbers, and it's like, those are pretty fresh bar numbers. And so we look them up and we see, oh, wow. They've almost been attorneys for 2 whole months now.
Oh, this is their first case of their prosecution of Riley?
It was probably going to be their first trial. Yeah.
Oh, man. I mean, it's good for Riley, but I think everyone's disappointed that there wasn't actually a trial.
Yeah. And that's the other thing. I was looking forward to a trial.
Yeah.
I was so looking forward to a trial. Because unlike what Eric July's fans all think, he would have had to testify.
Oh, yeah.
You can't just get somebody up on other people on the stand and been like, oh yeah, Eric July felt threatened. You actually have to have it from the horse's mouth. We have this thing in the United States called the Confrontation Clause of the 6th Amendment. And then we also have our own version in the Texas Constitution. So if you're going to make an accusation you felt threatened, guess what? You're going to have to take the stand.
I mean, the implication is kind of, let's see if we can do it. That's the kind of, I mean, I'm not like I have this mental disorder where I have to just kind of say what the implications of things are, like compulsively. And it just seems like to me, that he would have to testify, the implication is that somebody would accelerate it to a point where he would testify in court using these pre-established parameters and conditions. Just seems like to me that's what somebody would do. I don't know, though. I've been wrong in the past.
Somebody on Twitter, maybe Vicky or someone like that, or somebody else, they did like a Google AI search. Does the victim have to testify? And then the AI tells them, no, they don't. And so they're like, well, there we go.
There you go. I couldn't believe they were saying that. That's so stupid. Like, what do you mean he doesn't have to testify? He said he's afraid of this guy, and that's why they're going to put him in jail. What the fuck are you talking about?
So, folks, don't use AI for your legal advice. It doesn't usually pan out too well.
Why are people so dumb when they're talking about the law? Like, what the hell is that?
Well, they've convinced themselves that they know something.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I had a client come in and tell me one time, hey, I want you to file this motion and this motion and this motion. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. And that thing doesn't even exist.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, yeah, no, it does. I'm like, no, it doesn't. I said, well, evidently, if you think that that's something that I don't know.
Yeah.
And so you must have been talking to some other attorney that knows way more than me. So I suggest you go back to that law firm of Google and Yahoo and hire that guy. And once I called him out, and I was like, "No, man, you're right. I'll stay with you."
Yeah.
But yeah, no, don't try to get all your actual legal advice for your own case or anything from AI or necessarily from Google, because I guarantee you, you're going to miss something.
Yeah, and try thinking about it in terms of like, do you think that's what should happen? Do you think if fat guy making fun of a ex-gangbanger should go to prison? Does that sound like something that is going to happen? Because it doesn't. It's because if you think that, you're an idiot.
Well, so Collin County is very much Republican.
Yeah.
And like, I so wanted to do an opening statement of like, folks, what are we doing here about mean tweets? Like, if somebody makes a mean tweet and calls somebody a name on Twitter or X, like, does that mean they're guilty of a crime?
Mm-hmm.
And if, when the blank stares start looking at me like, what's he talking about? I guess Donald Trump should be prosecuted in Collin County for mean tweets.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's so ridiculous. The whole, whatever happened to sticks and stones may break my bones.
You know, right? That was a lie that we told people so we could say mean things to them.
Yeah.
Actually, words hurt way more, and I know because I do it. I would way rather come up with a nickname for somebody than break their arm. The arm will heal. The nickname will not. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know. Is this maybe they'll be around too?
Yeah. I doubt it. I highly doubt it. And here's the thing. James and I were still ready to go to trial, even though no trial could happen without a charging document.
Yeah.
So we could have rolled in there on that trial date. And the only reason the trial date stayed up online and everybody's like, no, it's not dismissed. It's not dismissed. It's still trial. It's just because the judge hadn't like gone in and removed the date off the calendar.
Right.
That's all. It was a clerical thing. There was nothing that was going to happen on that day. But these new prosecutors, they started filing notices like they were still had a case. They wanted our notice of experts. So that's why I put you and Nick Ricada on there as experts.
Do you think Eric's general manner of speaking and inability to wear anything other than a tank top would have gone over well in front of a jury?
Well, I was going to ask you about super chats and stuff because they kept talking about that in the offense report.
Oh yeah,
like he started sending super chats and whatever. So we were going to use you guys to talk about super chats and other things. Authenticate videos that you guys have posted online.
Yeah. Riley did it. Riley did that. He did those things that you guys are saying he did. That guy did go take a picture in the grave. He did piss on it, actually. He didn't take a picture of that. That's not in the picture, but he told me that he pissed on it. So there you go. I pissed on it too. I mailed him. I froze some piss and mailed it to him. And he pissed it out of a fake penis onto the grave.
So yeah,
I bought the property next to the graveyard, and I'm gonna dig down and dig over and drill a hole in the coffin and pull Isom Knox's bones out, and then I'm gonna bring them out the side like a sideways drill. Is that legal?
Probably not. Let's not do that. Yeah, let's not do that.
Why is a lot of podcasts don't have this many legal issues? It's like weird that we do constantly have retarded legal issues hanging over our heads.
Well, the country is very litigious. Yeah. People just want to sue people left and right for stuff and evidently call police for getting money taped to their window. I would love for Riley just to like plaster the windows of my house with dollar bills and 20s and hundreds. I prefer hundreds.
Is that legal? Is it legal to go to someone's house and tape $100 bills to their front
Yeah,
door?
yeah, pull up.
That's good to know. How many hundreds makes it illegal? If someone
What's
were to
that?
do that, how many hundreds would make it a crime?
Oh, I wouldn't be calling the police on you. I just want you to pull up, put some money on my window.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, and that's the other thing. Eric was going on with this whole pull up thing, and I saw the video where he was going on like, I'm not hiding behind a microphone. Pull up. Let's do confrontation.
Yeah. Right.
And then the next, like another podcast later, he's like, oh, well, that's not what it meant. That's not what pull up means. It just means let's have a conversation. Right.
Eric
if
is
I
so
remember
weird.
correctly, the original pull-up video is no longer publicly available.
Oh, really?
You had to get an industrious, anonymous Twitter user known as Hebitude.
Hebitude's great.
To collect this now publicly unavailable video for us. Because I remember one of my first thoughts when just seeing this case was, well, we need this original pull-up video in all of its context so that Eric July can't like weasel out of it and say, well, that's only like a portion of it.
Yeah.
Because, and it was just as bad as it sounded. I mean, there was no context that could show me otherwise, that it was just, well, I meant to come to my location to have a cordial discussion about our problems.
No, he always wants to fight.
Make
Anytime
amends.
anybody says anything, it's like, let's fist fight. Like, no, thanks.
And he's threatening other people too. There was some other guy who critiqued him, and he invited him on a show with him.
Yeah.
And was telling that guy, so next time you and I are at the same location, make sure to come up with you. But I bet you won't, or something like that.
I will. If you attack me, I'm kicking you right in the balls, though, and then I'm pulling hair. That's what happens.
See,
That's what's happening.
gets when you're inviting somebody to do something, it takes that whole criminal like element out of it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like if I walked into your studio and said, "Hey, Dick, punch me in the face,"
Okay.
and you're like, "All right, well, screw it. I'm going to punch Mark in the face," and you punched me. I can't then turn around and be like, Dick punched me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, everybody just saw you online say, "Punch me in the face." Like you consented to that.
Maybe in California you could sue me for that, but probably not Texas.
I don't know. I mean, is there any courthouses still standing out there? Are they burnt down? Or?
No. They're still up. We did lose a couple high schools, which if I was like, I got to be happy when a school burns down because so many kids are going like, yeah, awesome. But it sucks for me because my wife's a teacher, so she got an extra week of winter break, which I had told myself that I would have my me time again, and I get surprised with the wonderful blessing of us having another Christmas week together, 24 hours a day, which I had to mentally, you know what I'm saying, Max.
Did your honeydew list get longer?
I have a honey don't list. I'm not. We don't have a honeydew list around here. Anyway, thank you guys for defending Riley and seeing this case for being retarded as it was. It is. I think it is. I think even little wins are important. So it was cool that Riley didn't have to take the plea and have that on his record and just get gloated on and get that spiked in his face forever by Eric and his stupid fans. So it was really cool. Thank you.
So as I say, the state was still trying to go on with it. The state subpoenaed Eric.
Oh, really?
Employees. Yeah.
Oh, wow! I didn't know that.
Yeah. So Eric would not return their phone calls. Because the prosecutor's office was trying to reach out to him, and they do this in every case. If I called the police on James and I said James did something, and they go get and arrest him, once it gets to the court system, the prosecutor and somebody who's called a victims assistance coordinator would reach out to me saying, "Hey, look, James's case is in the court now. We're thinking about offering him probation or something to that effect. Like,
okay,
how do you feel about that? Right?
Wow.
Are you okay with that?"
I didn't know that.
And then it gives them an opportunity to find out for me if I'm like, nah, screw it. I don't want to go testify against James, or I don't want anything to do with it, or hey, you guys handle it how you want. But yeah, he wasn't returning their phone calls. And that was information that the prosecutors actually told us. We kept asking, have you guys been in contact with Eric July? They're like, yeah, he's not returning our phone calls.
Dude, this is unbelievable. Man, you guys got some good shit. So he's dodging. Eric's acting like he's getting called by creditors, dodging subpoenas.
Yeah. So then they the day they issued the subpoenas, I think the constable served one of them.
Yeah.
And that was the same day they filed their motion to dismiss, I believe. And then after we've already been told it's getting dismissed, like 2 more subpoenas are served like the following Monday. And I'm like, what is going on? Why are they even wasting? Like, what is going on? But the only one that didn't get served was Eric July's. So I don't know. That just means the constable couldn't find him at the location that they put on the subpoenas, which was the actual warehouse address.
That motherfucker. He started all this shit and then ducked having to testify. So they couldn't move
which
forward.
Is actually kind of funny because those subpoenas are part of the public record. And I know Eric July just recently had made a post, I think it was on X, and he was showing the city of Plano like occupancy certificate for his business.
Yeah.
And he had it all blacked out, like so you couldn't see like the address, and he was like, he said like the bitch ass city or you know, whatever.
Yeah.
It took forever to get this for me. But I mean, you can go down to the city records and pull an occupancy certificate. So I don't know what he's trying to hide his business address for.
He's an idiot.
Not to mention the state of Texas just plastered it on subpoenas.
Yeah.
So I don't know why he's trying to be so secretive over things that are in the public domain. Like,
yeah. It's because he's an idiot. That's the answer for everything. Has Riley heard the audio that you guys have heard?
I can't remember if we played it.
Sure.
I'm
pretty sure we would have played it for him.
We got to get that.
Yeah,
audio.
we played some. He came to our office a few times from out of state to visit, and we had a lot of conversations on the phone with him. But no, Riley was great. He had faith in us and let us just do what we do.
Well, he's free now, like everyone else.
From the very beginning, though, he was willing to go to jail, willing, ready, but not afraid that it would actually happen.
Yeah, I was real careful when I was talking to him because, like, I don't want to accidentally influence somebody into taking more risk than they're comfortable with. But when he has been from the beginning, like, yeah, fuck it, I don't care. I'll go to jail for 2 months for this or whatever. I'll go to jail for the weekend. I don't give a fuck.
And that's the thing I want to clear up too for any of Eric July's followers, because I know somebody had posted online like they went to like. They were talking about like he's going to get a minimum of 10 years in prison. Like,
dude, somebody's like
that's not a thing here in the state of Texas.
Somebody's like a house cleaner for when like people go to jail or they die, and they were cleaning out a house and found out that the guy was like an Eric July fan because he had one of his comics. So he sent me pictures of the house, and it was just disgusting, like hoarder tier. Piles of debris and trash. That's the mentality of the people that you're dealing with.
But yeah, no, there was and there were some other online forums that I wouldn't say necessarily were pro Eric July, because they actually bashed Eric July supporters too, as well as Riley and stuff. But they didn't really know what they were talking about either when it came to legal issues. So we were following that almost every day. They put my picture up there as Riley's defense attorney. They put the elected DA of Collin County up there as like, this is the prosecutor. And he wasn't the actual prosecutor.
No.
The elected DAs don't ever do anything really. It was a fun few months of entertainment. But yeah, like James was saying, like Riley would have gone to jail if he had to.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would ever come to that regardless. I couldn't see a jury putting him in jail anyway.
No.
Texas is one of the few states that the jury is allowed. You can elect to have the jury punish you instead of the judge. And it's got to be unanimous.
Oh, that's interesting.
So, yeah, I couldn't see a jury. The jury would have been so bored with this case in like right in the opening statements.
Yeah.
They wouldn't even seen evidence. They're
Stupid.
like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
And they probably, if anything, would have gave credit time served with like a small fine, if anything.
Yeah.
But I honestly wasn't afraid of Riley being found guilty.
Well, he's free. I really appreciate what you guys did, and appreciate you calling in. I don't know. Let's hope that let's hope Riley needs you again. He might. He might. I hope he saves your number. He might do. Yeah.
Well, he's got our number, that's for sure.
Cool.
But you know, we're only licensed in Texas, and I can do stuff in federal court too. But
oh, maybe he'll do something that needs you in federal court next. Then. All right. Thanks for calling in, guys.
all right, thanks.
Have a good one.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Well, Max, what do you think?
I think that is time that could have been spent getting better at making comics.
Yeah.
Gone through the rigmarole for what?
I want those recordings.
I'd love to hear that. The 911 call.
It is I, the Nigger, and I need you to subscribe to, it says here, Clip Summer.